Hello and welcome to the Survivor Kingston After Show. I'm your host, Ben Antwitz, here with Chris Rossi. And Chris, I mean, between the two of us, someone has to be the worst host. Am I right? So thanks
Yeah,
for
we're
joining me.
still. Yeah, I appreciate it, Ben. We're still jockeying for that position. Two episodes in, well, only one full episode in, but I think after two episodes, the people will know who they like more.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I like to think that you're the athletic host. Like you really look like you're the athletic host here. And if it turns out you're the worst host, that is what it is. But we've got a lot of Survivor Kingston to unpack. Obviously, two immunities, two tribals, two people voted out, and a twist, a little bit of a tribe swap. So, yeah, where do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, this showed you right away, like, all right, they're gonna get through this really quick. I mean, right away, elimination challenge, right, or immunity challenge, and that was when I was like, all right, they need to, because this is the next day, obviously. So they started the first night, all stay together the one night, then they voted off somebody right in the morning, and now it's like a sprint. Like this is going to be the one day where they're getting through almost everybody, I'm sure. So um, they
Yeah,
got
like tribals in 30 minutes.
yeah, exactly. So people are probably scrambling. It's probably so much harder to like figure out a strategy, and you'd think people might try to just go with what's the easiest rather than being able to meet with every single person on your tribe necessarily. And then, of course, when the twist comes in, that just throws everything for a loop.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what do you think of this first immunity challenge where you've got this like endurance element, this physical element, but it's like not directly connected to the puzzle, it's just this time advantage. Did that make you feel any kind of way? Because I didn't love it.
It was different. If I remember, I'm pretty sure the way it finished was, or the way that they got to the time advantage was the way it finished out, right? I mean,
That's true. Yeah.
but it
You
was all
know,
right.
usually there's like a firm connection between you like complete something before you start the puzzle,
Yeah, this is true. This is
or if
true.
there's an advantage in competition, it's like a found advantage, not like a hey, we're gonna like have like
Yeah,
heats.
I did like this was with the not tying or not untying, correct?
That was the first one. The second one was the knot and tying.
Okay, second.
The first
Sorry,
one was
I'm
just
getting
a just hang on a log and then like
yes,
and
yes.
you could throw that and just put your best puzzler on it was that was my read at least.
Now I did talk, yeah, because I talked to Clark and he was with me watching this episode, and he said they were going for like 20 plus minutes on their end. So it kind of was hard to show that in the edit, I'm sure, unless they did some sort of
Like a lapse
time
time.
lapse.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it seemed like they were just doing it quickly, but 20 minutes is a decent long time.
No, that's
And
super impressive. I'm not doubting that. I'm mostly
yeah,
just like trying to connect the dots between like a really hard physical thing with like how do we
yeah,
progress into the puzzle mechanic
yeah.
a little
No,
smoother.
that's true. I think this is probably the easiest way to do it, but no,
Yeah.
I feel what you're saying.
And obviously, if you like held the pig for like 2 minutes longer than someone else, it'd be a little crazy to give them a 2 minute head start. So I
Yeah,
understand that it's like it can't be 1 to 1, but
and even
um,
when even when they lined up, you could tell who was gonna bring it home. I think right off the bat.
well, for me, I didn't really know. Maybe for the first part, but I was mostly just like, I don't know how good these players are at puzzles, right? Like we've seen like one or two puzzles so far, but I was just like,
That's true.
I don't know. Doesn't like if Robin's kick ass at puzzles, she
Yeah,
saves herself.
and I do
Um,
like this puzzle a lot more than the first episode's puzzle.
yes, I did like the finality to both of the immunity challenge puzzles here. That you
Hmm.
could really have a clear right or wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't like just get that a little tighter, a little bit closer in, and it's better. So
Yeah, to Luke's credit, I'm sure like they probably just get better and better. So hopefully he cashes that check. But
let's,
yeah, so anyway, like we get Coyote loses for
yep,
whatever reasons. The players really just like colors, so everyone's calling them red, yellow, blue the whole time.
yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
easier
try
that
to
way.
stick with the names, but I can understand it's a 24-hour game or 39-hour game.
Yeah,
So it's tough. But I just love McKenna like says like so like quickly like we like coming to tribal like we're good here like just really good foreshadowing by Luke. I'm sure he picked that one out because we
yep,
lose it later in the episode and then Luke is just like so pointed like, hey Bear, what's up, man? Like are you gonna so you're gonna lose this thing like you got wrecked last tribal.
yeah.
A
Luke
lot
was
of fourth wall
very
breaking. Sometimes I'm wondering if we have Jeff Probst here, if like Luke is like getting up off the couch and like asking the players questions himself.
yeah. I thought his talk with them was very to the point and not so much rude, but very like, all right, what the heck is up right now?
Yeah, I do wonder if they're not giving him what he wants when he asks like the broader questions. Then he has to like dig in and be like, guys, these are the issues. Like, come on.
Yeah, let's stop dancing around the obvious and address this issue. I
Mhm.
will say, it was tough knowing that watching the intro, you see Bear playing basketball in one of the shots, Now that could have just been B-roll, but he clearly hadn't done that yet up to this point, so you kind of knew he was going to be safe.
Yeah,
But
that's that edge guy you've got there. You know, just looking at the edit logic.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's
couldn't
all right.
be. That's tricky. I mean, to be fair though, like Robin gets voted out here, and she
Yep.
says, honestly, I think they made the right choice, which is pretty
Yeah.
humbling stuff to say, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then
I
we
mean, they gave
immediately jump to
her.
the tribe swap.
Yep, that was not at all what I expected. I thought maybe one
Right,
or two
just
people might
numbers
have
wise.
switched.
Yeah,
Yeah, very early on, but I do like that it reduced it down to two tribes. I think that was a good call.
yeah. I will critique here though the fact that we have the reveal like one at a time from each player. I didn't love that. Like one of my favorite parts of like watching regular Survivor on CBS is anytime there's
Yep,
a draw and they like all put their palm out and then it's like reveal and then
yep, with the
everyone gets to
rocks.
see what you got for whether it's teams for a challenge or like the buffs for the tribe swap.
Yeah, no, I feel
But
that.
I felt like that would have been a really awesome climactic moment that we missed out on, where we just have like Hannah Brown or like Clark all of a sudden narrating like, yeah, these are the numbers, and you just like see Clark is already showing red, and like two people have their buffs.
Yeah, that would. Hey, season three, that's what it's for.
Yeah, that's these are we're throwing these notes out there. I mean, let us know in the comments if you know what you want to see out of these twists too, because sure there's a lot of stuff to do. But yeah, now I'm like we get to this twist, 12 people left. I'm interested in knowing when we're gonna merge because now we leave the episode at 11. Right, we
Yeah,
started at 15, we leave the episode 11. Traditional Survivor, you have three finalists, eight jurors, but we're probably
yep,
not gonna merge because I think Luke already announced there's one more episode before the merge.
yeah. So
Um,
two more probably get
so
eliminated. I would
at
guess.
least one, maybe two more, and I wonder if we're
Yep.
going to do like seven jurors final three or seven jurors final two. Like it'll be interesting to see what the numbers look like for
True.
Survivor Kingston. Obviously, they didn't start with as many players as traditional Survivor does. They do 18 now,
Yep.
whereas
Yep.
it's only 15. So
15.
the numbers are going to be a little different, but I'm definitely just crunching those as I go, watching
Yeah.
along.
I would guess seven jurors, three final tribal, but that's just a guess. Don't have any insider information yet.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely don't want it either. It's just interesting that way. But anyway, we get this new emu tribe.
Mhm.
It's interesting because this new emu tribe kind of has Evie in the middle of it in the power position. She's got Tom and
Yep.
Adam. She forgets Adam's name, but they're all original capybara. And then she's also got HB and Bear on her new tribe, and she names that she has connections with them already from I think pre-existing relationships. So Evie's in a really good spot where she's like the most connected all of a sudden after being maybe a pretty like quiet passive player in
Yep.
Capybara. They don't go to tribal, but I'm really interested to see how that plays out based on like the end of the episode.
Hmm.
The new Coyote tribe, the Red tribe, is a little more. They seem like a little more gamers. Like we get a lot more chatter out of them.
Yeah, the first thing I wrote was new red is stacked. So I like
Until
the
they
I
lose,
like I like the vibe
until they
of
lose
the
the
red.
puzzle. Until they lose the
Yeah,
puzzle. But
this is true.
yeah, the no, they like that new tribe looks good. It's just interesting to see. Like I talked with McKenna about it a bit, but it seemed like McKenna was really in the middle of her old Coyote tribe, and then she kind
Yeah,
of just gets a bad RNG here, getting the lone
terrible.
Coyote spot on her new Coyote tribe. Meanwhile, like Mandy, Clark, Gabe are in a really good spot,
Yeah,
and then Bones and Elaine have been working together on Capybara, so we think. So everybody
yeah.
else kind of has a buddy. Yeah,
Right away,
it's
right
an
away you
interesting
knew.
little RNG there.
Yep. No, I was like, oh, tough look for McKenna right off the bat. Like
Yeah,
you know when that happens, like you're the odd man out. So best of luck.
and then we go to this tribal. I mean, we kind of talked a little bit about how Emu wins it, the blue team wins.
Yep.
It's probably pretty close. What's super interesting along the way is like each of these like runs and knot ties,
Hmm.
everyone is finishing them like by like a second apart or something. Like it's so
Yeah.
tight. It's kind of crazy how tight it was the whole way. Um,
HB took like 2 seconds to go to do hers. It seemed like she
yeah,
was
she
the
was.
fastest I've ever seen.
Yeah, she was like the only one who like took the lead for blue because like
Yes.
Coyote, like Clark got the first split for Coyote. Gabe
Hmm.
like maintained it pretty much like the same difference, and then
Yep.
HB flipped it against Mandy, and then Bones like took it back. But
So shout
hopefully,
out to
yeah,
yeah, shout out to whoever tied those knots because they did a good job making it pretty even. I'd say.
yep, that's fair. Yeah, huge ups to the production team,
Yeah.
the Gaskies and friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good stuff. But ultimately, Bear and Evie finished the puzzle. Didn't look like McKenna and Elaine quite had like the last piece. They weren't quite there
Yep.
from what it was looking like on the edit. They just had things out of place. But yeah, and then it's fun. Like we're just kind of like in the action, like you're saying, like go 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 go. We leave
Uh-huh.
the immunity challenge, and Gabe's just like, Bone just found an idol. And I loved the sequence of how these idols like get announced, where it's like Bones like, yeah, Gabe found it. Like, I had to
Yep.
tell him. Gabe's like, yeah, I'm gonna tell Clark. Clark's like, I'm getting kind of lucky. Like, people are just telling me about
Correct.
idols. I mean, to be fair though, obviously there's something to be said about making the relationships and people wanting to give you information.
Yeah.
That's not all luck. So I'll give Clark a little credit. We love to be hard on Clark on this podcast, but at least
He
something
demands
right.
attention. Yeah.
And then Mandy
People.
also gets in the loop on this, which is a really like
Yep.
telling thing that Mandy's actually is pretty tight with Gabe and Clark. It's not just like oh, we're old emu, we're chilling.
Yeah.
Like, they actually shared information with her. And then
But
Elaine
yeah.
also knows from Bones, and
Yes.
Elaine knows that Bones had to tell Gabe, but Elaine doesn't know that
Yeah.
everybody else knows.
Exactly. So she's kind of in, but she's a little bit on the outs. And then I thought it was interesting because Mandy was told about Bones' idol, right? But Gabe still didn't tell Mandy about
Correct.
his idol. So there's definitely some big alliances with smaller alliances within that, which is interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and we also know that Gabe also lied to Clark in the first episode about the
Yes.
skill
True.
advantage, the extra road advantage that he has. So yeah, Gabe is doing well to get a lot of information and then just pick who he tells what. So
Hopefully he doesn't lose track of who
I was
has
gonna say
how much.
the good news is you don't have to remember for that long because it's only 39-hour game. So you'd be
Fair.
like, yeah, I told Clark about the idol. I haven't told anybody about the steal vote or the extra vote.
Yeah,
I'm getting that wrong.
this is true.
So he's probably gonna be okay. But yeah, it'll definitely be fun to see if anyone slips up. The confessionals have been pretty informative.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
agree.
what's interesting here for me, I don't know. Like I talked to McKenna a little bit about this in the exit interview, but she is trying to like pitch anyone but her, and she
Yeah.
kind of comes out swinging with like, I have all these connections. And when I think about that, I'm like, whoa, threat level like way up. Like she's like, by
I
the way, I'm a gamer.
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing with this? Why would you preach that you have all of these connections on the other team? That makes you put the biggest target on your back because it's like, so if you survive the merge, you're just gonna dip and then go with that whole side. It's like,
Or you're a threat, and you can like rally everybody.
yeah, a weird pitch. I guess she was desperate. She knew she was on the chopping block, but interesting strategy. That's all.
Yeah, she did mention that she felt like she maybe showed a little bit too much and said too many things. Um,
Yeah.
I probably said even more than we got to see in the edit from
Hmm.
what she told me in the exit interview. So sounds like she was just throwing it all out there and knew it was the writing was on the wall for this
Yeah.
vote, which is
You
tough.
felt bad. Yeah, you wanted her, you could tell she's a gamer. She wanted to play, but the the drawing of the new tribe screwed her. So that's tough to see.
Yeah. And then we go to the next tribal, and McKenna's like, more screen time, good for me,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, like good spirits about it, and is like, uh, and she did mention it was cut, but she wanted to tell people, this is how you spell my name, in case you're wondering, just no reason.
Yeah.
So when someone got it wrong on the first vote, and she's like, close, that's
Yeah.
that's what she's referring to.
I feel like everybody spelled it differently. So sometimes the people do that on purpose, but on this, I don't think that was the
Well,
case.
Clark played it safe. He went for just the first three letters.
Yep.
Little bit scared. I mean, that's good by Clark, right? He's trying to not put his neck out there too much.
Yeah. Well, according to him, that's what he calls her in real life. He does know McKenna in real life, so
Got it.
according to
Okay,
him, that is the name he calls her.
fair enough. Yeah, and we have this, blue, yellow, red like split between like
Yep.
the whole thing. What's funny is like Luke like asks Bones to like walk him through the whole like tribe swap and everything, and then Luke
Yep.
like lays it all out, and Bones like, "Yep, that's pretty much it."
That's exactly what happened.
So lot of narration carried by Jeff Probst here. Love to see it.
Yes.
Um, and then
I
yeah,
will. I will add for those. This is a little behind the scenes production. Some people are complaining about the lack of clarity and focus on Jeff during his shots during tribal. I have gotten word from the producers that Becky Gasquet has been fired of her duties as videographer of of tribals. So hopefully we don't
as
have to
of
worry
this
about
tribal,
that. Yes, I think it was during this tribal she was relieved of her duties. So
as videographer, just other logistics coordinator, because she crushes
correct.
logistics coordination.
Yes.
That,
Yes.
that's a funny one, right? Where you're like, oh, I hope these are
Yeah.
better in the future, but like we can't change what was captured, so hopefully it's
Correct.
better. Whew,
Yes.
that's a relief. Yeah, it's. I mean, there's so many cameras going. It's hard to get it
Oh,
all
it's
perfect,
yeah.
especially this is just like this is a passion project too. So it's like
100%.
everyone's just learning and improving. I will say I loved and I was very impressed by the improved audio transitions on the players being mic'd during tribal. Last
Huge.
episode, I felt like it was like the audio ramped down and then popped back up for the players. This felt a lot more
Yeah.
balanced and leveled, so I was very impressed by that.
Yep.
And it was just like keeping the audio level with all the different shouting and screaming on the challenges versus like the confessionals. You have to
Yeah.
level so many things.
Quiet.
So
And it's not and there's no subtitles reading the whole time, which is great.
Yeah, it's an impressive grind.
Hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, we get this split at tribal. McKenna clarifies she not only voted for Bones and put parentheses yellow. She knew who
Oh wow.
Bones was, but she was just generally voting against yellow.
Yeah,
Uh, this is like the little
I
nugget
laughed
there.
when I saw hers.
Yeah, because original Capybara has five of their players still, and there are only 11 players left. So they're close to being able to run the table. Whether they would actually do that, usually an alliance that big flips at some point when someone in the
Something.
minority
Yeah.
or at the bottom of the totem pole isn't happy. But it's just an interesting thing to see. Like we note, going into next week, Coyote's thinking about plotting against Gabe and Clark. And
Yep.
as I mentioned from the Emu side, like Evie's kind of in the middle of that tribe, and Capybara has the majority three there. So um, they probably original Capybara. They probably won't lose anyone next week if there's only one person voted out. So
I can't
Capybara is
imagine.
going to probably make up half, if not more than half, of the players going into the merge, which will be really
Yeah.
cool to see what original Emu, original Coyote does to navigate that
Hmm.
that uphill battle.
It does tease, obviously, Clark and Gabe, like you said. I don't know if it'll happen yet. I mean, that's a classic teaser strategy, right? You throw out a name in the teaser, and then that doesn't actually come through. But we'll see. I was sitting next to Clark while watching this for the first time, and he was stoic. I will admit, he did not show any reaction when this happened. Yeah, he couldn't give in to whether or not he's gone. I think he's in a. Do you think him or Gabe are in a better position right now?
Got to be Gabe, right? Because Gabe's got the
You'd
he's
think,
got he's
yeah.
got the idol. Bones is the one telling him, so Bones only knows that Gabe has like the information about the
True.
idol. Bones doesn't know that Gabe has told Mandy or Clark about Bones' idol. So yeah, he's controlling information. Again, it's all about the mix of information and also what you do with it. So Clark also has a fair bit of knowledge and information. Clark's the only one who knows about Gabe's idol, so Clark can spill the beans if he really wants to.
That's where I think Clark might have an advantage, but it does seem like him and Gabe are pretty tight, and I don't see him backstabbing him anytime soon, let alone right now. So,
Yeah, it is very early.
hmm.
That said, I mean, get to the end of this episode, McKenna's like, it'll be a more boring season without me. Said the same thing on the exit interview, which is also funny because we're like a year and change later, and she's like, "Yeah, the season was good, but it won't be as good because I'm not there." So it's like,
Hey, she
hopefully,
stands
hopefully
by
it's
it.
still pretty good.
You gotta
Uh,
respect that.
but end of the episode, we kind of wrap things up here. Like, what's your pick, Chris? Player of the week, um, the Gasky Award, if you will, of the week.
The Gasquet Award of the Week. I think it's got to be. I mean, that was big for Bones, probably. I mean, getting an idol is huge in this game. So if he's able to use that well, I think he had the biggest moment. Everybody knows about it on his tribe now, but I still think that's good. If he feels threatened at all, he can use that. Um, so I think Bones probably had the best week.
Interesting.
What
Yeah,
about you?
for me in my notes, I had like Capybara in general because they're like all still
Yeah,
alive, slash like Elaine Bones because like they were actually under the gun and managed to
yeah,
survive.
they
So
solidified it.
definitely aligned with you there. Um, Only other thing I'm curious about is what are you thinking of the edit of just like which players we're seeing in these confessionals? Do you think there's any like sort of winners edit coming together for anybody?
Trying to think. It seems like Elaine's gotten a decent amount of confessional action,
Mhm.
which it also might just play into who was saying the most interesting things. Some of these people that are not as familiar with Survivor might not have much to say. They're kind of just coasting for now. They're still trying to figure it out. Whereas some people like Elaine, for example, she knows Survivor really well. She kind of knows what's going on. She's in the mix with everything. I don't see anybody standing out necessarily right now. It's still too early for me to say this person. I'm still riding with Abby to win. I don't know why, but
She
Capybara's been
landed, I mean,
yeah,
she landed in a great spot on New
yeah,
Emu, so
exactly.
hopefully she can capitalize. Yeah, I will say I was interested in like seeing very little Tom this week. Like all he said was like, "Yeah, we've got three
Yeah,
capybara. That's nice," and he was pretty quiet. Obviously, if you don't go to tribal, it's not as interesting to see your tribe.
exactly.
But I feel like we saw a little bit from most of the other emu. So
Yeah,
I'm
no, that's a
interested to
good
see.
point.
I'm interested to see what he's scheming, what he's up to, because everyone we hear everyone else talking about him, which is usually like a good
Yeah,
note for the edit. Is like people are talking about you and your
they're
game.
scared. They're scared of
Yeah,
him.
they're like, oh, there's this player, they're good. They get colored in,
Yep.
and it's like, yeah, that's not to say he's like getting a winners at it. Like no one really is, and I'm not a good edgic person. If you're an edgic person, you know what I'm talking about. Definitely sound off. Let us know what we're missing. But yeah, definitely comment below. Otherwise, I've got very little left. I'm just excited for the rest of the season. Like you said,
No,
it's only going to get faster. It's kind of crazy. They have to vote off like 10 more people in this next 12-hour period,
which is nuts. Once the merge happens, it's gonna get crazy. I think.
or maybe not 10. I'll correct my math. Like 7 or 8.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They might go late. Who knows?
Do you think there's going to be a Final Four vote, or do you think they're going to do some sort of like fire making challenge as a twist at the end for people who don't know
I'm
Survivor?
hoping, yeah, I'm hoping for fire. That would be a sweet
Yeah.
visual. It'd be fun to get people out of their element doing that because they're probably not trained. They're obviously not going to train for that
Yeah,
like
there's
they would
no
in
way you're
Jersey.
like, yeah, when were we going to train like for months before?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for those who don't know about like CBS Survivor, they used to have a Final Four vote. That's what they did for Survivor Kingston season one. But around Survivor Heroes, Hustlers, Healers, they changed it, did a tiebreak fire making at Final Four with just you win the immunity challenge, you take some to Final Three, and then the other two make a fire. I think it'd be fun. It'd be super hype. I wouldn't put it past Luke to have done something like this. But yeah, if you don't think it's fire, maybe it's some other thing. Maybe it's shooting layups. Maybe it's shooting free throws like Bones is in the credits. A little bit of plot armor.
If he went all the way to the Final Four thing with that B-roll, that'd be crazy. But you never know. You never
I
know.
love that. It makes me think like we got to just get so much more B-roll coverage for the players like
Yeah,
rolling up to camp. Like Debbie's is like she's like in the car like unpacking because we just don't have.
yeah.
Bless her heart, but yeah, we lose her too soon from emo.
Way too soon. That's all right. She's probably still hanging around.
But yeah, and yeah, I'll sign off for Chris
Yep.
Rossi. This has been Dantwitz, and catch you next week on Survivor Kingston. We'll be there to react, take it, take notes, break it down with you. But thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Been a pleasure. Take it easy.